de ce pays, mais aussi les Canadiens d'un bout à l'autre de ce pays savent très bien que le choix ne peut pas être plus clair. Ou bien on continue avec un gouvernement progressiste, ou bien on a une opposition progressiste et un gouvernement conservateur. On sait que ça n'a pas marché pendant 10 ans sous Stephen Harper, et Andrew Scheer propose exactement la même chose, les coupures et l'austérité.
Vous avez vu que vous avez intensifié vos attaques envers le chef du Bloc québécois. Est-ce que vous craignez une vague bloquiste, M. Trudeau?
On reconnaît ce qui s'est passé quand le Bloc a été fort à Ottawa. On a vu Stephen Harper couper dans la culture, rien faire pour protéger l'environnement, rien faire pour aider les familles, donner des baisses d'impôts aux mieux nantis pour négliger la lutte contre la pauvreté. Les Québécois ne veulent pas un retour à ces années-là. C'est pour ça que les Québécois ont voté pour faire partie d'un gouvernement en 2015. Ce gouvernement a livré, a sorti 900 000 personnes de la pauvreté à travers le pays, a vu le plus bas taux de chômage depuis une génération et en même temps a vu la création de plus d'1 million d'emplois, la plupart à temps plein. On a lutté contre les changements climatiques avec un plan pan-canadien et tout ça, on a pu le faire parce qu'on avait des Québécois au sein d'un gouvernement progressiste. On a besoin de Québécois pour porter ces valeurs et ces messages progressistes partout au pays, partout dans le monde. Une vote pour l'opposition ne pourrait pas livrer sur les valeurs et les priorités des Québécois. I think Quebecers remember well what the cuts under Stephen Harper were like. The cuts to culture, the cuts to investments in communities, the cuts to the fight against poverty. Nothing done in the fight against climate change. And we were able to turn that around in 2015 because progressive Canadians and Quebecers pulled together and elected a strong government with a mandate to end Harper austerity and invest in families and in the future. And that's exactly what we did. And Quebecers now have a choice of continuing to be voices in opposition to a conservative government that is focused on cuts and austerity, that an opposition isn't able to stop, as we saw under Stephen Harper, or continue to be part of a progressive government that carries Quebecers' values, embodies them across the country alongside other progressive Canadians, and makes sure that our approach of investing in people and fighting climate change echoes around the world.
Joanna Smith, the Canadian Press. You have said you don't like Bill 21. You said the federal government may intervene. 70% of Quebecers support it. Yes or no, is Bill 21 discriminatory?
No. We have Quebecers taking their government to court right now to challenge a law that they feel is unjust. We are not going to intervene at this step of the process, but as I've said, a federal government always needs to be ready to defend fundamental rights, whether it be women's rights, LGBT rights, rights of minorities, or rights of francophone communities outside of Quebec. Comme j'ai dit, il y a des Québécois qui sont en train de mettre au défi ce projet de loi devant les tribunaux et nous n'allons pas intervenir à ce stade-ci. Mais comme j'ai aussi dit, un gouvernement fédéral doit toujours être prêt à défendre les droits fondamentaux, que ce soit les droits des femmes, que ce soit les droits des minorités, que ce soit les droits des communautés LGBT ou les droits des francophones en situation minoritaire à travers le pays.
In the 2015 campaign, during one of the debates, you said the NDP policy of recognizing 50% plus one as enough for Quebec to decide its political status in a referendum was reckless, and that your number was 9. Do you still hold that position? And what is enough for a referendum to succeed?
I still support the unanimous decision of the Supreme Court of Canada. Je continue de respecter la décision unanime de la Cour suprême du Canada.
Michelle Zilio with the Globe and Mail. Did you or your team ask the Obama for the endorsement?
I was happy to be able to work alongside Barack Obama on important issues around the globe, including significantly the fight against climate change. And I'm working really hard to be able to continue that work over the next 4 years. I was obviously happy to hear his words yesterday, but nobody tells Barack Obama what he should do. J'ai été très content de pouvoir travailler avec le président Obama sur de grands enjeux mondiaux, dont les changements climatiques, dont la lutte contre les changements climatiques. Et j'espère pouvoir continuer ce travail progressiste pendant encore 4 ans. J'ai été content de voir ces mots hier, mais évidemment, Barack Obama prend toujours ses propres décisions.
Did you apologize to Mr. Obama for wearing blackface and brownface? What did he think of you doing that?
The last time I spoke with Barack Obama was in the spring when he came to Ottawa. We talked about how we're going to continue to fight for things that matter for people around the world, like the fight against climate change.
Tom Harper with CBC. Just so I'm clear, you didn't ask, or you and your team did not ask Barack Obama for that endorsement?
Barack Obama makes up his own mind.
Can I ask you, Andrew Scheer's been attacking you on a daily basis for a plan to form a coalition with the NDP in the event of a minority situation. Do you care to call him out? Would that be something you would consider?
We are focused on electing a strong Liberal government that is going to be able to continue the hard work of fighting against climate change and investing in families. And the choice is very, very clear for Canadians. Do we continue with a progressive government that is investing in Canadians, growing the economy, and fighting against climate change? Or do we go back to Stephen Harper's austerity and cuts with the progressive opposition? That doesn't work for Canadians. We've demonstrated a better approach for the past 4 years, and that's what we're focused on continuing.
Would you be open to a coalition? Would you be open to a coalition?
We are going to elect a government with Liberal MPs from right across the country who will continue the hard work of investing in Canadians, of building a better future, of focusing on the fight against climate change. Andrew Scheer wants to rip up the only real plan to fight climate change that Canada has ever had.
Good morning, Mr. Trudeau. Joyce Napier, CTV. It's estimated that 1 in 5 Canadians over the age of 15 is living with a disability, and many within the community feel that not enough has been done for them. Can you tell us how you're actually going to put Bill C-81, which is the Accessible Canada Act, into action?
Over the past 4 years, we have worked harder on accessibility issues in Canada for Canadians than any previous government. Minister Qualtrough, who's the Minister of Canadians with Disabilities, has spearheaded the Accessible Canada Act, Bill C-81, that has made a significant step forward in establishing the framework for a more accessible Canada. We recognize there is much, much more to do to implement this, to make sure that Canadians living with accessibility issues have greater access to employment, greater access to full participation, greater supports for caregivers. These are the kinds of things that are not just about helping people, it's about fundamental equality, making sure everyone has opportunities to succeed, opportunities to contribute. We have done a lot, and Carla continues to lead on that, but we know there's much more to do, and we are planning to do it. But again, the contrast between a Conservative government that is focused on cuts or a Liberal government that will continue to invest in Canadians so that they can succeed is the choice people are facing on the 21st.
Last night on CTV, Mr. Scheer said that in the case of a minority government, it is the person with the most seats that gets to form government. Do you agree with that?
I am focused on forming a government of progressive Canadians, including a strong number of Quebecers, who will fight for the investments that Canadians need, who will fight against climate change, who will stand against Conservative cuts and Conservative provincial premiers who don't want to do anything on climate change and stop investing in communities and in people. The choice Canadians are facing is a very, very clear one, and we are entirely focused on that.
John Iveson, National Post. Mr. Trudeau, you've talked about the progress that you've made, but this campaign seems to be quite damaging. There seems to be a breakdown in trust. The two major parties have lost support the longer the campaign has gone on. What would you do if re-elected to help restore trust in the integrity of government and the accountability of government?
We're going to continue to invest in people. We know that things like the Canada Child Benefit have made a real impact in the lives of families right across the country. Hundreds of dollars a month more, tax-free, to help them with the costs of raising their kids, of creating opportunities and after-school programs for them, of giving them the brightest future we possibly can. That's a choice we made to demonstrate that we understand that growing a stronger economy goes through investing in the middle class, not cuts and austerity. That's something I disagree deeply with Mr. Scheer on. I believe in supporting Canadians. I believe in supporting our seniors. I don't believe in giving tax breaks to the wealthiest the way Mr. Scheer is planning on doing. The choice in this election is very, very clear. A government that is there to help people and allay fears and anxieties, or a government that wants to cut and propose austerity as a failed approach to grow the economy.
Bill Beeman, Global News. Last week, your party accused the Conservatives of disinformation for running ads suggesting that you would legalize or decriminalize all drugs. Now your party has a Facebook ad in Mandarin saying that electing Conservatives will have assault rifles spread to the streets. Is that not engaging in the same disinformation?
We have made the commitment to ban military-style assault weapons across this country. Andrew Scheer has clearly said that he will not. And indeed, he wants to reverse some of the changes to gun control that we made to render it easier for people to access weapons. These are contrasts in policy that give Canadians a very clear choice. Do we want stronger gun control with a Liberal government, or do we want to weaken gun control with a Conservative government? And these are things that the Conservative government and the Conservative Party, and indeed Andrew Scheer, has directly committed to in his platform, in his leadership race. If he wants to ban assault weapons, he can come out today and say that he intends on banning assault weapons. It would be wonderful if there were a cross-party consensus on the need to keep Canadians safe. I pass the ball to him, give him the floor. Will he ban assault weapons? If he does, we are happy to withdraw any ads that point out that he doesn't want to ban assault weapons.
On the one-year anniversary of pot legalization, I'm wondering if you're concerned about the black market that still exists, and also what your concerns are around edibles and being accessible to youth.
We recognized that the black market for cannabis was making billions of dollars a year, and that legalization would do a better job of protecting our kids and removing these profits from the pockets of organized crime and street gangs. And we have made significant progress in just 1 year, but we recognize there is much more time to go as we eliminate that black market altogether. But the decision that we took to keep our communities safer and remove profits from the pockets of organized crime was the right one. We're going to continue to work with health authorities and experts to ensure that as we move forward on next steps, we are keeping our kids safe, because that was always one of the fundamental issues that we chose to make this public policy change in the first place. Nous reconnaissons qu'on a fait des progrès pour rendre le cannabis moins accessible à nos jeunes et éliminer le marché noir, éliminer une partie des profits qui vont au marché noir. On reconnaît que ça prend plusieurs années pour que ça arrive complètement, mais le progrès qu'on est en train de faire est en train de protéger et d'aider nos communautés. Et sur les prochaines étapes, on va toujours être informé par les experts et les scientifiques, parce que la protection de nos enfants reste toujours au cœur de toutes nos préoccupations.
CBC, given that in a minority situation, the Prime Minister has the first right to govern, do you intend to use that right?
I am focused on electing a strong, progressive government that will continue the fight against climate change, that will continue to put investing in the middle class, in families, in youth, at the very top of our agenda. We will continue to stand strong against climate change, in contrast with a conservative proposal to eliminate the only real plan to fight climate change that Canada has ever had, and to give tax breaks to wealthiest while cutting services to everyone else. The choice Canadians are facing on October 21st is very clear. Je vais continuer de travailler pour faire élire un gouvernement progressiste qui va continuer de lutter contre les changements climatiques, qui va continuer d'investir dans les familles. Et pour ça, on a besoin de Québécois et de gens progressistes élus au gouvernement et pas juste en opposition. On a besoin de Québécois pour porter nos valeurs au gouvernement. Et c'est exactement pourquoi on est en train de demander votre appui le 21 octobre pour qu'on puisse tenir tête contre les coupures, l'austérité conservatrice et leur désir de rien faire pour la lutte contre les changements climatiques.
Pauline Lallemand pour Paris Match. Nous sommes à 4 jours des élections. Quel bilan vous faites aujourd'hui de cette campagne et avez-vous des regrets?
Je continue de travailler très fort pour que les Canadiens comprennent le choix auquel on fait face. Ou bien on continue de lutter contre les changements climatiques, ou bien on continue d'investir dans les familles, dans les enfants, dans nos aînés, dans nos infrastructures, ou bien on choisit l'austérité et les coupures et de ne rien faire sur les changements climatiques. C'est un choix important que les Canadiens vont faire et pendant les 4 prochaines journées, je vais continuer à leur en parler.
De Radio-Canada Trois-Rivières. Monsieur Trudeau, c'est la deuxième fois que vous venez nous rendre visite dans le cadre de la campagne. Quelle est l'importance de Trois-Rivières dans le cadre de votre campagne? Est-ce que vous avez peur que la circonscription vous glisse entre les doigts?
On voit ici un choix clair entre une vieille approche qui n'a pas fonctionné sous M. Harper, ni pour Trois-Rivières, ni pour le Québec, d'austérité ou de coupure, ou bien on peut continuer avec notre approche, avec Valérie Renaud-Martin, qui est un vent de renouveau, une personne positive, d'expérience, qui va bien représenter les trifluviens pour pouvoir continuer d'investir dans les familles, pour pouvoir continuer de lutter contre les changements climatiques. Les Québécois ne veulent pas retourner en arrière avec Andrew Scheer vers les années Harper. Ils veulent continuer d'avancer et pour ça, il faut avoir des gens comme Valérie, des Québécois forts au sein d'un gouvernement progressiste. Ça ne sert à rien d'être en opposition contre un gouvernement conservateur. Ça prend des gens forts pour être rassemblés dans un gouvernement qui reflète nos valeurs et notre fierté.
Bonjour, M. Trudeau, Martin Lafrenière, M. le ministre. Vous avez parlé tantôt de M. Scheer versus les projets de train à grande fréquence et d'aéroport. Est-ce que vous prenez un engagement ferme ce matin? Excusez-moi, le gouvernement libéral.
On a déjà...
Pardon,
répétez votre question.
Est-ce que vous prenez un engagement ferme ce matin que dans un prochain gouvernement libéral, le prochain mandat, vous réalisez le projet de train à grande fréquence et d'aéroport?
On peut dire que déjà dans notre premier mandat, on a investi dans ces 2 projets. On a annoncé des investissements pour l'aéroport cet été et on va continuer de travailler pour aider le développement économique ici à Trois-Rivières. On comprend aussi que le train à grande fréquence, qu'on a insisté, allait se rendre jusqu'à Québec en passant par la Rive-Nord, en passant par Trois-Rivières. C'était essentiel et c'est pour ça que notre gouvernement, par la Banque d'infrastructure, a investi 71 millions de dollars pour avancer le projet. Mais nous reconnaissons que M. Scheer a déjà dit qu'il allait ralentir et couper dans les investissements en infrastructure. Ce sera à lui de dire si effectivement il compte couper dans ce projet important pour les gens de Trois-Rivières, pour les gens de Québec, pour la lutte contre les changements climatiques.
Bonjour, Monsieur le Premier ministre. Lise Doucette of the BBC. Prime Minister Trudeau, you're now fighting for your political life. What went wrong?
Every election is an opportunity for Canadians to choose the approach they're going to take, choose how they continue as a society and as a country. Over the past 4 years, we made the decision to invest in Canadians, to invest in growth, to invest in opportunities for families to get ahead, to fight against climate change. We put in place the only real plan that Canada has ever had to fight climate change nationally. And we are right now looking for the opportunity to continue on these progressive initiatives. Contrast that with an opportunity to return to the failed approach of 2015. Canadians get to choose.
Why is it so much harder for you, Prime Minister Trudeau, this time than it was 4 years ago? What went wrong for you?
I would tend to disagree. 4 years ago, a 79-day campaign was extremely difficult, and campaigns should be difficult. This is an opportunity to get out and speak with as many Canadians as possible about an important choice about where we're going as a country. And the opportunity to share with Canadians both what we've done, but mostly what we plan on continuing to do, is always really important. It's something that we take seriously and something that I'm thoroughly enjoying this time like I did last time. C'est toujours un choix important et les élections, c'est toujours des moments de travail acharné pour présenter une vision positive pour les Canadiens. L'élection de 2015 a été une élection où on a travaillé très très fort et ces élections de 2019, c'est des élections où on travaille très très fort. Mais on reste ancré dans le choix important que les Canadiens ont à prendre et on va continuer de leur présenter une vision positive, de lutter contre les changements climatiques et d'investir dans les gens plutôt que de choisir l'austérité, les coupures et les baisses d'impôts pour les mieux nantis. Merci tout le monde. Please.